Hi everyone, welcome to Not Suppressing This, where we invite you to take care of your emotions, especially if you've been holding back on them, with awareness and healing so that you could show up for yourself and others in the most authentic way. I'm your host, Corie Chu, Reiki Master Teacher, Intuitive Energy Healer, and Personal Development Coach. So here we are, not suppressing this. Hi guys, my name is Corie. Welcome to the Not Suppressing This. I brought on my dear friend Anne. Hello.
Hi.
And as you can tell, she doesn't suppress very much. She's very good at being quite vocal, quite expressive.
I mean, not very good, but like
It's natural.
I say things, I say things.
So one of the reasons why I started this podcast, Not Suppressing This, is because it can be quite a journey for a lot of us to learn how to not suppress things, maybe to express ourselves, or at least to be honest with ourselves first, and then we go ahead and express it to others if we need to. But, to not always bury our emotions under the carpet. And I love being able to have these amazing conversations. I've had plenty with Anne, usually by the beach, and sometimes in the Reiki studio, but usually by the beach because we get to meet up a little bit more often. But with a lot of friends, family, clients, students, I wish we could go a lot deeper with our conversations. And so this is one of the reasons why I decided to do this podcast, and we'll be inviting a lot of different friends to come on. Hey! So anyway, not suppressing this. And you're super, open.
I would say I'm more open as I get older. Yeah. I don't think it always started like that.
Yeah.
But
yes. What was it like before?
I was such a good girl. I mean, no, I still said things. I think I
was such a good girl. I still said things.
I still said things. Don't get me wrong, but I think, over time there is something with confidence in expressing yourself that does come with age or comes with experience. But that said, I think maybe innately I'm a bit more expressive or more vocal than someone. Like I'm known as, sorry mom. She's always like, if you meet boys, don't talk so much.
Oh dear. Okay, so that's one of the key things, right?
Yes.
If you meet boys, don't talk so much. My mom said if you meet boys, one of the things is, to look presentable.
Right.
And to not finish your food purposely. So, in those moments, in those first date moments, we suppress quite a lot, right?
No.
Okay.
Not in the first date moment.
Okay.
Because it's like, I'd rather see the ugliest side of me.
Oh my God.
So that I try not to, when I go on a date, an actual date, I've been on a few setups or whatever, right? I try to look not pretty. If I were out of
I love it.
Out of 1 to 10, I'll look like 5 or 5.5 to 6.
Okay.
Because you don't want them to be like, oh damn, and then it just goes down from there. Because it's like, isn't you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I get the logic behind that.
Do you know why? Okay, my ex-boyfriend, this previous ex-boyfriend, why I thought it was nice, or why I thought he liked me, is because I wore PJs to work. I was no makeup, literally PJs. And he still liked me. So I'm just okay, well then, you like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know
he
what I
liked
mean?
you for you. He proved
it. It felt like that.
Okay.
Because it's if you look so hot, what about the less hot days? You know what I mean? What if I don't got my lashes?
Can you love me when I'm ugly too?
Exactly, when you feel I'm less pretty, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Can you love me when I feel less pretty?
I only dress up for girls. Girls' night, you look super hot.
Okay.
And then for boys, scale it down 4 points.
Okay, I see the math there.
If I happen to meet them after a girls' night,
right,
then okay, you get the special pluses, right? But then in the meantime, I try not to, look too hot. As in, in terms of what I can do for myself.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
So would you say you're suppressing your hotness?
I am.
Oh.
Because I don't want them to like me. Because looks fade.
True.
Looks fake. Like, look is not, like, at some point, it's about the inside. It's always about the inside.
It's always about the inside. I've devoted my entire life to try and help people understand that.
What I mean is, for people, there's an initial attraction. Am I right?
True.
There's an initial attraction. And then after that, it's like, what's inside? You know? So let's just skip that. Like, let's just go, yeah.
Okay. So you decide to put it out there first, your truest self, so to speak.
Yeah, and then
rawest form.
if I can, at least. I mean, obviously, like, I've realized that, like, when I go, if I happen to meet them at a setting where I'm, like, already, like, I feel like at my 9 or 10,
right,
then there's nothing I can do about it because, like, I'm there and you happen to see me there. So what can I do? What to do?
You realize this isn't normal. It's not normal practice.
No, because, like, you know, like, let's say, like, I'm out, like, okay, so for example, if I meet someone at girls' night, well, you caught me at my best, right?
Yes.
Best physically, at least because I'm looking hot for my girls, not for you.
Right.
Or, like, if I'm, like, let's say I go to, like, salsa or bachata, I want to look hot for myself.
Right.
But then you happen to see me, then shoot, what can I do? Like, you caught me. What do I do, right? Yeah. But aside from that, like, if I'm going on a proper date, let's scale it down. Ladies, scale it down. Men, scale it down. Because you want them to love you for here. That's what I think. But I think I'm derailing. Sorry, we're talking about...
no, I love that you're suppressing your hotness for your first few dates.
Yeah, because, like, yeah, they got to earn the hotness.
I like that.
You know, like, you have to... Like, you got to like me at my 6. And then suddenly you'll be like, you see the 10. You'll be like, oh, damn. But you have to earn it. That's what I think. Y'all don't have to follow me.
Love it.
Y'all don't have to follow me.
Love it.
But, like, that's how I do it.
I do really love it.
But at the same time,
I knew that before. I wish I implemented that in my earlier years.
No, but at the same time, I also find that, like, going on scheduled dates is very awkward.
Yeah, it's super awkward.
Because there's an expectation that, like, something's happening. But I'm like, what's happening? Like, I don't really want... Who are you?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, imagine, like, arranged dates.
Arranged dates are the most... Don't go on it. Just don't. No. Just no. It's just very awkward. I find it very awkward.
Awkward.
Because, there's almost like... And it never tends to go the way, you know...
No.
Yeah. Like, even... Okay, honestly, like, meeting someone new for the first time, I don't know. After some point, my ammo was like, there's only so much I can say. Then I want out, right? So, well, I don't know. I haven't maybe been on a successful first time date. Maybe that's why. That's possible as well. But
I'm not sure I ever have either.
Yeah, like
first dates aren't usually great.
They're not. I've been, like, set up on one of those, like, arranged, like, they pay for, like, a service.
The, like, lunch dates?
I don't know. It's a service, but, like, I was not, like, paying for it. I was in the pool because my friend did, like, a dating thing, and he put me in his pool. But then somehow I'm in a pool. So someone called. Sometimes one time someone called me and was like, "Hey, you matched my man. Do you want to meet him?" And I'm like, "Okay." And then we met, and I talked a lot as always. I don't know
about suppressing your thoughts.
I don't know if I squirted him away, but, like, I talked a lot, and then that was it. I didn't call him back. He didn't call me back because I'm just like, we met, and that was it.
Yeah.
Done.
First dates are, they're not easy.
For me, it has to, I think I like it when it's a bit more organic or when, like, we happen to meet at
the park.
My ideal
at the
date.
Supermarket.
My ideal date, which hasn't happened yet, is I'm in a bookstore.
How often do you go to a bookstore?
I know I haven't gone in, like, many years, but, like, there are no more bookstores in Hong Kong.
There are talking about.
I don't see no more.
As we.
Okay, but that's, like, really big. Okay, fine.
Okay.
You know, like, we're both, like, looking at the same book. Or, like,
we're both reaching
the same book. And then I'd be like, "Oh, excuse me."
I got it first.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, obviously he has to ask for my number because I'm going to ask for his. I don't know. Actually, I think I might. I don't know. It depends. One time in college, I was in the gym.
Yeah.
And there was a really cute guy, and we were both looking at each other. Like, if I don't know if I fuck had a meaning, it was I fucking.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing, yeah.
And we just kept looking at each other and smiling and flirting through our eyes.
I remember that episode on Friends, if you saw,
Yeah.
where Rachel was like, we made eye contact.
Yeah, we made eye contact many times. And I was just like, oh, and he was like, you know, and he was hot, like a hot athlete.
And so?
I don't know. I should have asked for his number, but I didn't because I was shy. I'm still shy, actually.
Aww.
So that was that. But like, yeah, we had a great session. Just yeah.
Okay, so here we are, seeing Anne through different phases, and she suppresses her shyness, or she did once upon a time, right?
I'm still shy.
You're still shy.
But like, I think that like, if I don't know. Who knows? I think I'm a bit more bold now. I used to like, if I liked someone in college, I'd be like, can you ask him if he likes me? Now I'll just be like, what's up? like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, me and you. Because like, the thing is, if you go through someone else, there's there's like just
communication
broken telephone, that gave
lost in translation.
Lost in translation. Maybe he don't want to tell you about his feelings.
Agree.
And you can also like then get their vibes.
Or the worst is when the middleman is the person who's also interested.
Yeah, that.
Okay, what? Can we?
Yeah.
Not be so judgy.
No, we don't not be judgy, but like, you know, like, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Yeah. So do it yourself. Do it yourself.
Direct, right?
Do it yourself. Do it directly. You can fish it out of him, but you have to do it yourself. And I think, to be honest, you can tell. I think if someone likes you.
True, of course.
I could not always tell. I could not always tell, but now I can tell. So just
but you're still suppressing your shyness.
I'm still shy. I'm still a girl. I'm still shy, but yes. I don't know what happened. I think just it's an age thing, but like there's a balance. I think it came from being shy and not being able to say things to maybe saying too much. At least I think with my parents, or like I think at one point I started calling my poor mother out on like many things.
And also that's different, right? Like not many of us are able to call our parents out, but obviously, I'm at a point where I can tell my mom like, hey, that was really messed up, or I didn't really appreciate that, or blah, blah, blah. If you want to be in a relationship, you got to show up for each other, right? You got to hear the not so comfortable parts as well as the loving moments, right? And if my mom and I want to be in a good, honest relationship with each other, we have to show up, right? And so, yeah, there are really uncomfortable moments once in a while.
And she'll listen?
She says she will listen.
That's very nice.
I don't know how much of it that she actually retains, but she's trying. I actually went through this period of time where I'm like, my mom's not going to change. My parents aren't going to change. They're older, and that's a fact, right? And when you're a little older, it's a little harder to change your ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty lucky in the sense that my parents are pretty open. They want to be better. They say they want to be better. I believe them. They coach other couples, married couples. They coach families.
They coach?
Yeah.
Okay, so they evolved.
They're evolving. They're evolving. And so we're able to have these like really difficult conversations sometimes, or really uncomfortable conversations sometimes.
Right.
And how much they're able to retain, I don't know. But at least we've said what we've said, and they take what they took from that moment, and that's more than enough, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, like for me, I'm able to be like, Mom, I've been thinking about this. And the thing is, I don't get like super reactive with her anymore. I used to.
Right. It's like you're both growing, right? It's like you're also less reactive. She's also a bit more understanding. I think maybe with me and my mom, it's a little bit like that, but I also stop calling her out on things generally. I think if I bring things up, like, at least in the past, like I've been told that I'm too sensitive. Like I tell you how I feel, and then you turn around on me and be like, you're too sensitive, I can't talk to you. Actually, I recently had a conversation with someone, I won't say who, something similar. I mean, eventually we sort of talked it out. I think he kind of gets it. But I brought up, basically what happened was, we talked about something, it was a bit of a sensitive topic for me, and he joked about it, not intentionally to hurt my feelings, but then I think I was like, maybe don't joke about it because I'm not quite there to like, we can't laugh about it just yet, you know?
Right.
And then I think it was difficult for him to understand.
I had that same moment, and it happened like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, and I think it's not their fault, though.
It's not.
It's not.
It's like, yes, let's say something bad happened, right? And I'm sharing because, we're talking as a friend, right? And then they're like, oh, yeah, that probably happened to me too, ha, ha, ha. And you're like,
yeah.
But it did it, and obviously, yeah, I wasn't there yet either, right? And it was a little like, that felt,
it doesn't feel like maybe it's a sense, it's not, it doesn't feel like it's supportive at that moment or that point in time, because when you're talking about something like that, you would hope the person has the empathy or the sensitivity to understand what you're feeling and empathize and give you support
and hold space, just to listen. You don't have to agree, you don't have to chime in.
But that's not to say, I will say I realize that a lot of people maybe don't. They don't know. It's not that they're trying to, they just don't know.
Right. I agree.
They don't know. And like, so I feel like it's important to speak up and say these things to them, because they will never know if nobody tells them.
But in a way that is healthy, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, you stupid idiot, why don't you understand, right? It's more of like, I was trying to convey something that was kind of hard for me.
Yes.
It's okay if you don't fully understand, but I just want to let you know that was kind of a difficult moment.
Yeah. And it's also part of, like, I think, like, relationship bonding, or like building an emotional connection, because it's like, if you don't understand how I feel, how can we be friends, or how can we
exactly connect? And sometimes you do need to. You do have to say it and be like, hey, that felt a little insensitive, blah, blah, blah. And if that person can take it, they're a keeper, they're a good friend, right?
Yeah, if they can't take it, then I think that's also has to do with a bit of emotional maturity, perhaps, because
for sure,
understanding that, like, what you mean to say, what you didn't mean to say, or what you said wasn't intended. No one intends to hurt, I think, generally speaking.
No, well, I hope not, right?
Yeah, but I think maybe that's the concept of that is difficult for a lot of people. But then you're just trying to get them to understand you.
Yeah.
The same way, like, it's almost like, I understand where you're coming from, but I just want to let you know this happened, right? But then I think that's a deeper level of a relationship.
Yeah, and it's one that requires a little bit of support in a different way, compassion, understanding, empathy.
Yeah.
And it's also totally okay to not say anything. It could just be like, hey, wow, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Yeah. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, you don't even have to apologize. It's more like,
a little embarrassed maybe that I didn't think about it that way.
Exactly.
I'm going to spend a little bit of time thinking about it.
Or just be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. You don't even have to, like, it's not about who's right or wrong.
No, it's not.
It's just try to understand where I'm coming from.
Actually, on Friday, the other night, I was having dinner with my parents, and my mom was just like, I haven't seen you in a skirt in a long time.
Oh, what's she trying to say?
And then my dad comes up from behind me, and he's like, I'm sorry, you know how your mom doesn't know how to communicate very well sometimes. Wow. Don't take it personally. Wow. I love it so much. He's so sweet, right?
That's very sweet.
And the thing is, like, I don't take it, I don't get offended anymore. And I have yet to tell my dad this, but it's like, I'm not offended. I don't take it personally anymore because I've endured 40 years of this my whole life. And kind of reached the capacity where I'm like, shit's not going to change anytime soon. I need to change. I need to pivot the way that I receive her comments so that I can, deal with it better.
It's good.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like shit all the time. So I have to change. And so, I spent a lot of time doing that. Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell my dad, like, I am not offended. I don't take it personally. But I do feel disappointed.
Of course, right?
I do feel disappointed that, I wish she was a little bit more considerate before she...
Opens her trap?
Yeah.
Mouth.
Face.
Mouth.
And the thing is, I have to, I then, kind of have to think about, like, oh my God, like, she's trying, and
they are all trying.
She would have said something way worse before.
Oh.
I think, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, okay. And the thing is, like, I understand where she's coming from, who she is, how she is, why she thinks, presentation. I understand that she thinks that, being presentable is really, really important.
That generation, they really think that.
And so in general, I think across the world, right, in many societies, like image is such an important thing, right? And for her, it's of very utmost high importance, right? Whereas kind of like you, I show up, I suppress my hotness in front of my mom.
Why? Why do you suppress your hotness in front of mom?
My beauty.
Your hotness. Listen, everyone's hot.
I never thought about it that way, but I do that with my mom.
Why? Because you don't want her to look at you pretty?
I want her to accept me for me.
Oh,
it's not about, it's about this again. It's about the heart,
Oh, I didn't think.
It's not about like.
Yes.
If I came through with my Chanels and mini skirts and blah, 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 like I am not that person. And I've actually just realized, like, I do truly suppress.
Interesting.
My 10.
Yes.
In front of my mom. I totally do that.
Wow. That means maybe there's, interesting. Maybe there's a part of you that there's a need for validation in terms of just like, no, not validation, but like you want, like, because, I don't know.
Again, it's about the internal. It's about the personality. And I also want her to know I purposely use this as a sort of passive aggressive way to poke her, to be like, we don't have to look great and perfect.
I think I get you because
we're good people, or we can be decent people without having to look amazing all the time.
I get you.
And it's not about like being super dolled up, but she's very much about being presentable.
Presentable.
Right?
Yeah.
And I understand that, and I respect that, especially around different occasions. Like if you go to a wedding and they're like, please don't wear flip-flops, don't wear flip-flops,
Why not?
Don't challenge that. Like, be respectful, right? In those circumstances, I'm like, yeah, of course, right? You want to show up for your friends. You don't want to ruin their day. They're saying, please don't wear flip-flops. Don't do it, But I'm just saying, like, oh, okay, when it comes to me as a daughter from my mom, like, can we just be bare and raw? Like, that's how I see how we evolve in a relationship.
That's a good point. I've never, maybe I feel pressure to look nice in front of my mom, so I do. But like, I think in general, I mean, I don't know, I'm just trying to think like between like me and my parents, has there been like in something where I had to say something? Not really. I think
not recently.
Not recently, because I think
you guys have evolved. I mean, you've evolved a lot.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, that's who she is. Like, she's just trying her best, or they are trying.
Exactly.
My dad is trying his best.
So that's the thing, right? Like sometimes you suppress your feelings. There's days where you're not. Like, here's the thing. Here's what I was thinking about the other day. Like, okay, I think we can mindfully not suppress our feelings if we're processing them, right? It's just you're taking that process a little slower,
Sometimes
right? You're a little bit more mindful, right? You need that time for introspection, right?
Yes.
So that's not necessarily suppressing, right? That's just slowly processing your emotions.
Which is normal, by the way.
And healthy.
Sometimes it takes time. I think some people don't understand, like, it's not in real time for me, especially if it's like...
Oh, it's never in real time.
Yeah, sometimes, especially if it's like, triggering of something else or whatever. You want to also think about how you want to use your words to express them
Absolutely.
properly.
Well, we've talked about this before too, where it's like, you want to react in real time, but you can't.
You can't, yes.
And you're trying to think about all these things. We talked about this.
Did we?
I talked about this before last year too. No, it's like, you need the time to process the feels, the emotional reactions that you have, and also looking, look at, are you blaming someone else? Are you using it as a cop-out?
Yeah.
How much of that is your own responsibility, right?
Exactly.
And then a lot of the times we also imagine what people are feeling, and then we kind of spiral that way, right?
It's like, am I being too much? Or like, to be honest, my first instinct is always like, it's fine. Let's not make a big deal. It's almost like naturally, like, do you really want to make this a big deal? Or can you let it go away?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can understand. I'll give you an example. I've been on the other side many times, and obviously my first instinct is to be like, what did I do?
Yeah.
So I completely get, like, when you're being called out on something, it's not very natural or nice.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, or maybe a while ago, maybe a month ago, I asked my sister to do something, and maybe it was when I'm in work mode and it's urgent, it's just simple line, get it done, please. There you go. So it feels like a command almost. And I think I was asking my sister to help me dub something. So I was like, can you dub this for me? I think I said something like, yeah, can you dub this for me? Here's the thing, thanks. Which I thought was like, hey, thanks,
Please do this for me, haha, cutesy.
Yeah, but like, I didn't have time to cutesy all the whole thing, so I'm just like, thanks, can you dub this, blah, blah.
Delegating with cuteness.
Delegating with cuteness, I thought was enough, because I said thanks with like 5 S's. Right. But then I think I forgot, and then I moved on, something else. I was like, can you help mom do it too, or whatever? Because sometimes my mom dubs for me as well. And then I think she said something like, can you ask nicely, though, next time? Or can you ask nicely, please? Ooh. And I'm just like, oh.
She wasn't wrong, though.
No, she wasn't wrong, right? But then in that moment, I'm just like, I scroll up, and what did I say?
Good for you.
I was like, and then I was like, okay, I didn't ask nicely. But then there's a part of me that was trying to, like, also defend myself, being like, okay, but I didn't like, what did I say? I think something like, I didn't mean it like that, right? Like, whatever.
Right.
And she goes, yeah, but like, and then I felt really bad. At this point, I felt really bad, but also I felt really defensive, because I was like, I think in my mind, I thought that the thanks with the 5 S's was good enough. But obviously I get it, right? Hi, are you free? Can you please do this for me if you have time? Is what I usually say. But I was rushed and all of these things. And so, but then getting called out on it, immediately I was just like, what did I do though? What did I do? Then of course, like, you have a moment, you suddenly be like, I'm really sorry. Right? But,
yeah, because you just own it, right? You're like,
there is a
regardless.
Defense thing that does come up. Like,
but that's the ego.
It is the ego, and it does come up. Even for me, even though, I would say I've worked through things, and I would say I'm a bit more involved than I was before, it does come up still.
Of course it does.
So can you imagine a regular person who has not thought about feelings, who is not evolved, is a regular person, and is fully in her ego, and you call them out on something?
Yeah, there's no point. There's literally no point.
I still do it.
Why? Why torture yourself?
Because
well, okay, fine. No, I get it.
Because the world...
Someone has to do it.
Someone has to do it. We have to elevate the Earth's consciousness, and it starts with communication and education.
I agree. If you got the time, you're in the right mood, and with the right intention, I fully agree.
I think maybe because, like, maybe if it's someone that I care about, or I feel like...
I get it.
It depends on who, obviously, but, like, I feel like some people, you just need to, like, share some love.
And it could be tough love by calling them out, right?
It is tough love, but I do it.
So I did something similar with the intention to call someone out to help them see things in a different perspective, right? And it wasn't my, proudest moment either, right? But basically it was like, I think it was like 3 years ago. It was deep in COVID, and I was at this local pharmacy, and I was...
So I realize I'm showing my bald spot. Y'all don't get to see my bald spot. We're going back to the side. Keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were 3 years ago. I forgot. This is not my good side.
Okay.
I lost a lot of hair from a heartbreak, but it's growing back. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But it's me.
And that's how emotions manifest physically.
I'm as an example. I'm a very emotional person, given I'm a Scorpio, but I also am emotional, and I'm owning it. Don't you let anyone tell you you're too emotional or too sensitive. They don't get it.
Okay. She's not suppressing that either.
No. Just tell them.
But yeah, no. So I was at this local pharmacy 3 years ago, deep in COVID, and I was looking for something, and I can't remember what it is right now, but basically I didn't know how to say it in Chinese. I can only say it in English, right?
Okay.
And so the pharmacist there, he speaks both English and Chinese,
Okay,
right?
perfect,
So I was like,
perfect.
okay, cool. I always go to him. He's the nicest person
So
ever.
you know him.
We're neighborly, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know his name, but we know each other-ish, right? Anyway, there was this busy nobody uncle who was a customer, and he had nothing to do. He wasn't even buying. He was just sitting there. He hangs out there. He's one of those hanger-ons, right? And he had nothing better to do, and he was sitting there. And I was talking to the pharmacist. I'm like, oh, do you have this, right? And then I was like, I don't know how to say it in Cantonese. I'm so sorry, but I'm looking for this. And then he was like, oh yeah, it's blah 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 in Cantonese. I was like, oh, okay, cool, thank you, right? And then he told this other guy to go get it, like in the back, right, and bring it, a staffer to come to get it and then bring it back. And this busy, this nobody uncle, this hanging about uncle was just like.
What did he say?
First of all, I can't tell you how much I hate that sound.
I know. I was already like, what did he say?
That you already have to suppress, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
And then two, he goes, how did you not know that in Cantonese?
Rude.
So rude, right?
That is very rude. You don't know it, but he doesn't know it in English.
I know. I'm like so offended, right? And I was like, oh man, no, not today, no. Like, how rude of you, right? Yeah. And I was not in the mood for that. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that in Cantonese. You can't expect everyone to know how to say something in Cantonese. I'm not.
You said this in Canto?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I
tried, right? I did. I really did. I did say it in Cantonese.
Okay.
And I was like, don't be an asshole, basically, right? I didn't say it in those exact same words, but he was just like, I wasn't yelling at you. I was yelling at the staffer. Like the guy in the back who went to go get the thing.
Oh.
And.
So was he?
Sorry?
Did he mean that, or he just?
I mean, he said he was like, no, I meant it for that guy, right? But he was like looking at me and the pharmacist, right? So I was just like, that was weird. But anyway, his chair was very comfortably in a position where he was, facing us, right? And so he was just like, no, I was talking about him. And it turns out he's the son of the owner of the pharmacy. And he was just like, you should know better. You're the son. You're going to be inheriting this thing. You should know.
So it wasn't meant for you.
Exactly.
So you were triggered. You were triggered. Okay. So you were triggered.
So I'm the idiot here, right? And of course I'm full of shame, right?
Yes.
And first of all, I was so proud of myself for standing up for myself. Like,
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
If it was a situation, you said it.
And I was like, okay, I stood up for myself. I said what I said. It's hard being able to do that in Cantonese. That is not my mother tongue, right?
Yeah.
And then to be able to stand up for myself with this grouchy old man, right? And then, he, when he said that, I was like, oh my God, okay, I have two options. I can be defensive.
Or you can say
something. And I can keep fighting it and making it worse. Or I could just be like, fuck, that was my bad,
I mean, he also could have, to be honest, he could have been defensive and making it up about someone else.
Yes.
So
but you know what?
For yourself.
But how do I want to walk away from myself? Right? And yes, I want to, I'm also being considerate of his feelings. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But I was just like, yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Like, I misunderstood the situation, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And of course, I got my change, and I ran out of there.
Yes, but still awkward.
So, yes, in that moment, I didn't suppress my feelings, which I was really proud of.
Okay.
However,
wrong moment. You were triggered.
I misunderstood the moment.
You were triggered by something else.
But I was really proud that I was like, okay, you know what? My bad. I'm sorry. And whether or not he took it, that's on him, right? Haven't seen him in that pharmacy ever since, but.
I mean, it depends how angry you were when you said it.
No, like when I was like, you could definitely feel the shame coming out of my head, and the head was like sweaty at that point, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, my bad. I'm sorry. Like, I literally, I did. I was just like, my bad. I'm sorry. Like, I am sorry. I misunderstood that situation. That was the best I could do in that moment, all right? I wasn't like, I'm sorry.
Sorry, love.
Okay, sorry, not sorry. Like, it wasn't about that. I was just like, no, okay, my bad.
That also listen, it takes courage to stand up for yourself, even though it's fake or like it wasn't like, you know, the right situation, misunderstanding, but it also takes courage to
own it when you're wrong.
Yeah, and I think that also that's something. So I'm proud of you.
Thank
You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I think people always forget that, like, I mean, no one is perfect.
No.
Some people are more flawed than others, yes. But the point is, like, if you can just own up, like, I think maybe that's where the shame comes from, which is like, I know I fucked up, but
and that's when you're suppressing it.
Like, let's bury it.
Exactly.
Let's bury it.
You're like, I don't want
to not talk about.
I don't want to deal with the shame.
Why can't you just give me a sorry and let's move forward?
Right.
Give me a sorry.
You still want to walk away with that pride.
Yeah.
And that's another, you know,
I think
graduation
it
of
takes
like,
a lot of courage to be like, sorry, this is where it's coming from. It wasn't right. I'm sorry. Like, I don't really. I can think of only a handful of people that I know that can do that.
And that's what I see on the street a lot. Like, people are yelling and taking shit out on people. And I was in LA recently, and it was the same. Like, it was just pedestrians yelling at drivers who didn't really do anything, who weren't in their way or whatever. But who am I to judge? I was in the situation. I was, you know, outside observing, right? But I'm noticing a lot of that. Like, the anger isn't being suppressed anymore, and it's being lashed out. And it's being expressed in a way that might not be the most healthy.
I really don't like it when I like things calm and collected.
Yeah.
If you're upset about something, let's talk about it calmly.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like it when someone is angry. Maybe that's something else from somewhere beyond my childhood that something needs to be figured out and unearthed and worked on. But I think that, I really don't like it when someone takes their anger out on me, or even if they're really angry about something, to direct it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But don't direct your anger at me, because I can't take it, and we'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be done. Like, so, I think
it's a level of respect, you know? Like, you don't lash out at someone.
Don't lash out at someone, or don't, we can calm your ass down, and then we'll talk about it.
Right.
Like, we can still talk about it. It can be a serious conversation, and you know, you can be frustrated. You can say you're frustrated. I'm frustrated because XYZ.
Yeah.
That's communication.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't know how to communicate.
Yeah, that's pretty
Or they just
obvious.
Don't talk about it, or you see it from their the behavior. They just kind of but then it's like, let's talk about it. We're adults now. I mean, we've been adults for a long time.
Yeah.
But we're adults, right?
But that's the number one thing that we have to learn as a human being.
Yeah.
How to communicate well. And
also having, I think, the self-awareness.
Yes.
To be honest about what you're really feeling, even if it's maybe not the right or not appropriate.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Or like, I'm feeling jealous of this, for example. Or like, I'm feeling embarrassed because I did this. These are all shameful things to talk about, but like, talk about it.
I'm so proud of people when they do that.
I really think so. And I think there's only so many people that I know of that can do that, that's why my circle is small now.
Yeah, but that's normal too, as we're getting older as well.
Yeah. Like, I think for me now, I think in general, the relationships that I try to keep in touch with or cultivate, like, needs to be deeper.
Yep.
And I think that they need to have some self-awareness.
Yep.
And I think sometimes it's disappointing when I realize, oh, I thought you were better than that.
Yep.
Then this, like, do you want to then fix it? Do you want to, like, talk about it? Or do you feel like it's a lost cause, in which case...
Can you fix it, though?
Can you fix it, right?
Because you can say all that you need to say to someone.
But if they don't get it, or they don't have that awareness to understand...
Or that they just don't want to accept it.
Yes, they don't want to accept it.
And they may have the awareness they don't want to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
We've reached the end of today's episode, and I hope it's helped you suppress a little less today. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you're hearing, please hit subscribe and leave us a review. And if you'd like to get in touch, please visit Corie2.com or DM me on Instagram at Corie2Healing. Bye for now.